Melanated family, back for a brand new episode of the Melanated Convo podcast. I am your brother Harrison. Got two special guests with me, family. You know what I mean? I got my brothers in the house with me, man. Hit the like button, subscribe to the Melanated Convo podcast on YouTube, on all of the digital platforms as well. Or you can just go to the website. The website has newly been built. So melanatedconvo.com is where you can get all the links to the shows as well. But like I said, on the show, I got two of my brothers in the struggle with me, man. You feel me? You feel me? So I got my brother Jermaine Morris, my frequent collaborator, a collaborator. You know what I mean? Damn near my co-host at this point. Jermaine Morris, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing pretty good. How you doing?
Pretty good, man. That's my guy right there. And for the first time on the Melanated Combo podcast, my
Man,
guy.
we've been having to do this thing, and here I am.
Yes, sir. So Mr. Berry Accius, the Malcolm X of Sacramento, Mr.
The
Activist
most
himself.
disliked popular guy, man. The most disliked popular guy, man. It's a
Come
pleasure.
on now.
Finally get here to be the melanator on a melanated podcast, man. It's a beautiful thing with my brother Jermaine. I'm excited. Folks listen, this is the beginning of Berry Accius, the most disliked popular guy, getting back on his podcast-ish. So Sacramento, worldwide, global, it's about to be some shit. So get ready for it.
It's about to be some shit. And
it's going to be a lot of silly Negro shit. It's going to be a lot of interesting dynamics. Let's get to it.
Yes, definitely. And before we get off today, everybody, we got a special announcement involving us three and how we gonna move forward with this podcast thing, man. But I'm excited. So let's get into it, fellas. So I wanted to talk about a few topics that have been going on in the news with our people, but we're gonna bring it back to, Black people and our struggle and how we actually view things. So first thing I want to discuss with my brothers, the Diddy situation, right? So everybody is aware of what's going on with P-Diddy. Just to recap real quick. So the brother had the situation where Cassie filed a federal lawsuit against him in November 2023. She's claiming sexual abuse. She's claiming making her have sex with other men. You know what I mean? Something interesting I found out is she's suing him under something called an Adult Survivors Act that gives you a small amount of time to file a lawsuit against somebody until the statutes of limitations are up. So we have Cassie filing a lawsuit against him. We have a lady named Lisa Gardner filed a lawsuit within that same time claiming sexual abuse. She used that same Adult Survivors Act. On that same day, we had another like Jane Doe file a lawsuit against this brother as well. And not to mention the producer, Lil Rod, got this lawsuit against the brother claiming that he groped him, he made him watch certain shit. He claimed he put him in a situation where Cuba Gooding Jr. was fondling him and all of this, you know what I mean? So a lot going on with that brother, a lot going on in the news about him, a lot of different reports, social media is running with it. So Jermaine, I'm gonna ask you first. When you see, because this isn't the first time that a Black man has been put into a light like this in our community, when you see everything going on with P. Diddy, what were some of the first things that you thought?
When it rains, it pours. I think so. The first thing that I paid attention to was the Cassie thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, okay, they was together like a decade. There's probably quite a bit of, probably some truth to that. And then after the settlement was so quick, then I knew there was more coming. Because once you're willing to tell the public that you're going to pay, then everybody came out to woodwork. Mm-hmm. So I feel differently about the Cassie one than I do the other people.
Got it.
In the sense that, there's probably some more validity to hers than maybe necessarily everybody who jumped on the bandwagon later.
Mm-hmm.
I think there might be a lot of cash grabs going on.
That's how it looked. Yeah.
On this other stuff, but I'm willing to say, just my own personal view, I'm probably 80% of the Cassie stuff. He did that. Just my
now. Wow. Now, Barry, when you look at that situation, how it's being portrayed in the media, like how Black folks are jumping on it, what were some of the first things you thought when you seen all that come out?
What do you mean how black folks are jumping on it? What you mean?
Well, what I mean by that is when I look on social media regarding this situation in particular, there's a lot of memes about it. There's a lot of memes. There's a lot of people taking like old clips of things of Diddy and showing that to us. So just our overall consumption of information like that. What did you think when you seen everything?
It's about time.
Mm,
I mean, I knew the walls were coming or closing in when it came to our guy, Diddy Wop. You know what I'm saying? AKA Mr. Freakoff. When the brother got caught up for the Tupac murder,
mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm,
And I think that when the Cassie thing happened, you know, I said, oh, he's in some ish. But what I believe that Diddy did, his public perception, he was fooled by.
mm,
He really truly believed that everybody bought into this nice guy image, this mogul, this ambassador of the black community kind of imagery, when in reality, we tolerated Diddy. We really didn't celebrate Diddy. Bring
mm,
us Biggie, bring us Tupac any day of the week, right?
mm.
We
He
would
was a
have rather
blessing.
had those two guys.
Yeah.
And I think that we have to also, if we're going to include kind of how it seems like a lot of powerful black men's demise comes outside of their arrogance or their ego or ignorantly believing that they've drunk so much of the white wine that they're
Mm-hmm,
exempt from the Negro status of the R. Kellys, the Bill Cosbys, the Michael Jacksons of the world.
mm-hmm,
When he started to poke his chest out and he started poking and pointing at fingers for some of the people that he was in partnership, the liquor
mm-hmm,
company, right?
mm-hmm,
Started speaking against the award shows. Now, I'm not saying that, like, you know, that's that old common phrase when people start talking about Bill Cosby. The reason why they set Bill Cosby up because he was about to buy NBC. It's
mm-hmm,
nothing like that.
mm-hmm.
But when you share a bunch of secrets with these kind of bedfellows that you with, you gotta be careful to not walk across the line a little bit too much. And I believe
Mm.
that's what Diddy did. You get what I'm
Got it.
talking about?
Got
Because
it. Got it.
his arrogance of him believing that everyone has bought into this idea he's a family man, business mogul, good guy, was far from the truth. Because what he should have done is just paid Cassie. I mean, you destroyed this girl's career for 10 years. Cassie
Mm-hmm,
only done came out with one album.
mm-hmm.
So if she's asking for a couple million, like what, 10 million, I'm writing that off and I'm paying her. We wouldn't even be having a conversation.
Okay.
Especially if I know I got hella skeletons. And I
Got it.
think that in this world of tea, where men like to gossip and get on interviews just as much as women do, everybody is trying to find a way to get paid from a story. Everyone's trying to go viral from a story. And if someone does not like you and wants to have you fall off of Mount Olympus, you already know you have a gang of folk, a gang of enemies. And I think he played himself with most likely his public perception not really being the true reality, because there's a lot more people that dislike Diddy in a real way. And a lot of us, when we go back and date back to all the fuck shit that he's did to his artists, out of all, let's just talk about the artists,
Mm-hmm.
right? And how he got into the game. Remember, Diddy started off with when he was a promoter, you know, having a event that killed 8 people. You know, he
That's a fact.
started off with blood on his hand. So
That's a fact.
you gotta really look at and shape kind of like how Diddy has somehow, some way escaped multiple different traps that he probably put himself in.
Mm-hmm.
People are still questioning where's Kim Porter at, right? And
Yeah.
personally, you know, with some friends in the industry that I've heard even before some of these things have come out, certain allegations and certain ways he moved, which I never thought, because I thought he was more player than that.
Mm-hmm.
This aggressive behavior is 100% something I believe because I heard it from someone's mouth that was actually dating his ex-wife.
Got it. Got it. Now, so Jermaine, like taking into account everything B just said,
Yeah.
because we like, so he's on Mount Olympus and he's been raised up to be this figure, like you were saying, be his public perception. But
Yeah.
Jermaine, like as a black culture, can't we take a little bit of accountability for that? Like, don't we put these celebrities on an island by themselves? Don't we worship these celebrities a little bit too much? Don't that play into them feeling like they're invincible or they can do whatever the hell they want to do?
Does it play into it? Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, they have a match, and then the public pours gasoline on it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get to be the more opportunity you get, the more resources you get, the more exposure you get, then the more you are to be whatever it is you were before.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, if you're already a little arrogant, if you're already a little conceited, if you're already a little manipulative, then I give you money. You're going to be very conceited, very egotistical, very manipulative. Then I give you
Mm-hmm.
access to things. You're going to be incredibly egotistical, incredibly manipulative. Then I remove consequences. I give you enough access and resources that you can remove a degree of consequence. Oh, now you super ego. Now you super conceited. Now you super manipulative. So, yeah, yes, I can see why the public bought into that, but it's still on the individual. There's a whole lot of people who are incredibly famous who you don't hear any of this from
Mm-hmm.
because
That's
that's
a
just
fact.
not who they were anyway.
That's
So
a
it's
fact.
not just the being hoisted up and being praised that automatically you become, you know, a tyrant. But it does feed into it if you're already that way.
Yeah.
And
See.
not only if they're not even that way, right? I just think that one of the biggest issues that Diddy had was like, dude, it's that great quote that Suge Knight said on the Source of Word. You want to have that producer all in the video. It's like after a while, this guy who was on the back of his artist became a bigger star than his artist and
Mm-hmm.
only became the only artist, right? That
Mm-hmm.
it was all about him, and nobody else. And he just wanted to stay in the spotlight. Like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, dude, if you gonna be 50 years old dating a bunch of young chicks, all right, do your Hugh Hefner thing. But understand, you're black and Hugh Hefner was white. You know what I'm saying?
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Eventually, you keep putting yourself in this limelight. You keep saying, look at me, look at me. Eventually, folks are gonna start tapping in. And in this culture where everybody wants to expose something, everybody wants to be the first one to go viral with the T, like Diddy played himself. Yeah, I mean
Mm-hmm.
he's played himself not because he has a bunch of skeletons in the back. It's just because he never knew how to get out of his own way and just
Mm-hmm.
say, I'm going to drift to the back and I'm going to let my offsprings be the ones. And that's what Hugh Hefner did, right? Back in his day, you saw him more or less be like, yes, you heard more about the Playboy Mansion than Hugh Hefner. You get what I'm talking
Mm-hmm.
about? So a lot of these
Mm-hmm.
folks, unfortunately for Diddy, he needed the spotlight because him being the front guy meant more than the money. That
Man,
access to
more than
being
money.
I'm the guy meant more than all of the other things. That's why I appreciate Jay-Z because he doesn't do as Diddy. And I'm sure that
Mm-hmm.
guys like Jay-Z is like looking like, yo, I gotta step all the way back
Mm-hmm.
before cats start looking through my lifestyle and the things that I'm doing. I just think Diddy was just a little bit too rambunctious and too passive and to look at me. I'm still the same Diddy from 96,
Mm-hmm.
2000. You know what I mean? Like, come on, brothers, 2024, you done had your time. You
Guys,
still
so
making
B,
albums?
so B, let
Shit.
me ask you a question though. What about the black folks that say, if we look at history, there, yes, we've had guilty black men
Yeah.
that have participated in a lot of fuck shit, but we also like we're listening to this same system that purports black men in a negative light. Like if we
Uh-huh.
listening to the media and listening to what's being portrayed about them, there's been times where this has happened to black men, and this was just a smear campaign, or it was just something they were doing to take them down based on something else that was going on. So what's your thoughts about that? That this is Diddy was just they was just using Diddy because something bigger was going on. You know what I mean?
Well, here's the thing. This is the cold part about this case. It's both. It's
Mm,
both things, right? Because when you look at his track record, I'm asking what happened to Faith? What happened to Total? What happened to 112? You
So
know what
you're
I'm talking
saying
about? The only
those business
person,
dealings?
I mean, yeah, in his business dealings,
Yeah.
you something wasn't right. I mean, just off that, what happened to Mace? I mean, Mace is the only person that seems like he has somewhat of a decent career because as we thought he was foolish, he left not only because of the situation with Diddy and some other things that was happening in the streets, but he left at the right time, right? So
Mm-hmm.
when you project and you look at it on a way where it's like, all right, back then you're like, oh, Mace left all this, he's an idiot. But in
Mm-hmm.
reality, 2024, you now have to applaud Mace for what he did. You have to
Mm-hmm.
applaud the Locks for what they did when they're like, yo, get us out this contract. We don't want to do none of this stuff. So, unfortunately, for this Diddy situation, it is a quandary because it's two of the same things, right? It's yes, they are gonna take this black man down, and they're probably putting 10 on 10 because we know a lot of the elite, not only the Negro elite, the elite was dealing with
Mm-hmm.
Diddy in whatever kind of particular way. So I do believe that when they did the whole, raid at the crib, it was
Mm-hmm.
for, yeah, we're going to try to find some information, but we also want to clean up some stuff from some other folk that
Yeah.
probably shouldn't have been around to do their damn things. You know what I mean? So I
Mm-hmm.
think it's a little bit of both. You can't, and this is a problem that I have with black people that have this idea that they have excessive power. You have excessive money, but you don't have power in a white society,
Not
right?
like you
And
think.
your
Yeah.
limitations are being shown every time you feel you're expendable. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? Every time you
Got it.
feel, excuse me, not expendable, every time you feel you're invincible, you find out you're expendable. And I think this
Makes
is a
sense.
lesson that I hoped niggas would have learned with R. Kelly. Niggas
Mm-hmm.
would have learned with Michael Jackson. And when we go talk about Michael Jackson, this was one of the most beloved niggas of all time. Like, I
Wait.
mean,
All right. So wait. So going back to the Michael Jackson situation real quick, because I'm gonna throw it to you real quick, Jermaine. So do we? Because looking at Michael, I remember. It's funny you bring that up. I remember looking at that situation as a kid, and everything the media reported about him that was going on, it was heavy in the media, like the propaganda that they were spreading. So I was
Yeah.
kind of believing, like, damn, Mike could have did this, right? But Jermaine, do we do ourselves a disservice by just jumping on someone when we see the media reporting something and kind of saying basically they guilty before even the court of law determines that?
Yeah, because well, to a degree, yes, because you got to look
Okay.
at Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson was investigated with a fine-tooth comb,
Mm-hmm.
and they came back with nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's different. Sean Combs hasn't been charged with anything.
Yeah.
So when we start talking about what does he do or didn't do, or he's this or he's that, he was accused in a lawsuit. That's
Mm-hmm.
that's one thing. And then he right now he's just being investigated like for a series of things that they're looking into. He hasn't been
Yes.
charged with one thing.
He hasn't been
So
charged with one thing. Yeah.
so there's no quote unquote evidence or not enough to sit there and bring him to for an indictment because
we don't
they
know that
there's
yet.
so if we're talking about what do we jump on something, yeah, because you could be found guilty in the court of public opinion without any actual tangible physical evidence. Michael
Now,
Jackson was a good cue of like everybody was like circumstantially. Would you let
mhm.
your kids do this circumstantially? You're like, well, no. But they said, well, we investigated him even to the point they strip search and investigation. Like they did
Mhm.
their cavity search that man, taking pictures of his body, this and that, to see if they could identify a mole on him properly, like to see if something matched up. Like they went over to that Michael Jackson case with a fine tooth comb,
Mhm.
and they came back with zero.
Right, right. See, that's what I was thinking. Just because a lot of these situations, R. Kelly included, I think a lot of these brothers are guilty of something, but
Yes, they are.
it's a lot more nuanced than we would think. Like Barry, for instance, like looking at the Michael Jackson shit and how ultimately he was found innocent, like
Innocent.
no wrongdoing. How should we back off for a second? Like let all of the findings come out before we jump on the situation and say, hey, this brother's guilty.
With you talking about with Diddy?
Just in general. No, just in general.
Just
You
in
know what?
general.
I understand we're generalizing it, but at the end of the day, if it quacks like a duck, it looks like a duck, man. You mean whatever that saying is.
Yeah.
Here's my thing, and this is why people are so fueled by pointing the finger at Diddy and looking at the Michael Jackson case, where Michael Jackson's guilty was he was a weird Negro.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, you seeing all these bad chicks, like when you like, yo, Michael, you had Brooke Shields sleeping at the crib and you didn't do nothing. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like, yo, because I mean, women would die to have sex or be in an encounter with Michael Jackson. You get what I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking about? So
Mm-hmm.
for us, it was always like, we're looking like, brother, you're not trying it with the most beautifulest women in the world, but you steadily want to hang out with these kids. What's
Mm-hmm.
up? So in
Mm-hmm.
public opinion, the assumption is, well, then we might have did it. We don't
Mm-hmm.
know. But
But we
with
don't know.
Diddy,
Yeah.
there has been too many rumors. There has been too many situations and people talking out. Like his bodyguards and
Mm-hmm.
other individuals for years have been saying the same thing. The woman that got shot the night that Diddy and Shine got arrested for the gun has always said Diddy's the one that shot me, right?
Mm.
And because of money and power, because when you're able to flex that you can make that power system of white supremacists, right?
Mm-hmm.
The power system, when you're able to provide a source of income and you're someone that they deem to be necessary for that particular time, you are going to have a bunch of people that's going to be able to say, yo, pay this person, pay that person, it's all going to go away. I think the
Mm-hmm.
time has ran out for dude. You get what I'm talking
Got it.
about? I think the
Got it.
dude poked out his chest a little bit too much, and now the rooster, the what is it? The chickens are here to roost.
And here's the thing too about Diddy's situation and a lot of situations like this that I've been thinking about, y'all. So it, I definitely have a problem with anybody that's predatorial. Like, regardless if you have money, if you black or not, that's not the point for me. But the thing is, people enable them to a degree. Some of these people that are coming out with these claims, my question to them, like, they may need like some psychiatric help or something, because who's gonna sit around and get abused for years? Now, a woman, sometimes I can understand how that happens. Even though I don't agree with it all the time, I can understand how that happened. For instance, this little Rod guy is basically saying all of this shit happened to him and he had to watch this and he had to watch him shoot somebody and cover it up. Why the hell did he just go home? You see what I'm saying?
Well,
Like, sometimes people are okay with something until the shit go bad. Like, it seems like to get money, to get fame,
yeah,
people are willing to deal with a lot of different shit. Jermaine, what
yeah,
you feel
not
about that?
necessarily. Well, true. Yes, those people exist, but
Yes.
it's a misconception to believe that the traumatic response that women have at times is unique to only women.
Hmm. What
That
do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
so if a woman is abused, you can say, well, why did she stay? I can see
Mhm.
why a woman stayed for all these reasons, and those reasons not still apply to a man. Like, we have this belief that an abused woman, because in our minds we're thinking, oh, he's a man, he should fight. But I'll
Mhm.
give a pass to say she's a woman, I see why she didn't. But if they're an
Hmm.
abused man, because usually when it comes to predators, they know who to pick to put around them, male or female.
That makes sense.
So if you have some of the saying, who's to say that these men that were around them were not victims of previous predators? That's how they ended up in his circle.
Mhm.
And for the
Mhm.
same reason why women have traumatic events, if you talk to a woman who's abused at 30, a lot of times you'll hear she was also abused at 25 by somebody else, 22 by
100%.
somebody else,
Yeah.
17 by somebody else,
Mhm.
13. That type of wiring carries over to men too.
Okay, wow.
When you
So
get
you
men who
saying,
get abused as children and then
wow.
abused as
Huh.
teenagers, then they find themselves in the presence of an abuser in their 20s. And then you're fighting and you're saying, like, oh, why was he there? For the same reason why the woman was there. It's
Hmm.
just
And
that
the
in our
abuser has
brains, we think
power.
it's different because of the gender.
And the
And
abuser
the
has
abuser
power,
has
like you said,
power.
B. Yeah.
Yeah. And so
And
we
the
just
abuser
think, oh,
has
that's
power.
another man. He should have done A, B, and C. But the
Mhm.
same reason why he stayed is the same reason why she stayed.
The abuser has, and the abuser, and the bottom line, and to top on that, the abuser has power. Like, who in the hell would have ever thought guys like Epstein, guys like Weinstein, who have been doing what they've been doing for decades, would ever be stopped?
Mm-hmm.
Because we're in a different culture where we no longer accept that, where we appreciate and value a voice of a woman or a voice of anyone being abused, whether it's a man or woman. We are
Mm-hmm.
acceptant to that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, back in the days, your whole career would have been ended, and many people's careers would have been ended because many people's careers never moved forward when they spoke against the machine or individuals that were a part of the machine. That's
Mm-hmm.
why, in the reality of Cassie, who has been dormant for years, didn't even know what she was doing. Heard she had a little white husband, and then all of a sudden I hear about a lawsuit. You're like, wait, lawsuit? What's that? Then you heard about it. So that's what was going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now you're just like, oh, it makes sense. Clearly, if she did this a couple years ago, no one would have even probably thought about it. Everyone would have been like, what is she talking about? Because so much of this stuff went under the rug. Because unfortunately, even when you talk about Bill Cosby and the things that he did, and I know people hate to hear this, but culturally, that's what folks did. Like, they was doing things that
Yeah.
was unnecessary to do to women. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Even though
Mm-hmm.
they didn't have to do that to women, but that was a part of it. Like
Mm-hmm.
with R. Kelly, unfortunately, you know what? That was a part of the era. Young girls were dating older guys. That's just what it was. Not saying that it was right, but in terms, I can sit there and ask a whole bunch of girls in that era, did they date an older guy? And we're not talking just an older guy that was in high school. We're talking about an older guy. A majority of women be like, yeah, they had an experience with an older guy. Because in that era, in that moment, in that time, it was deemed okay. Now that folks have caught this idea where, we all want to be overly righteous, it's all looked at as it was bad. But we've been enabling these assholes from the beginning of time, and that's why they have become to be powerful abusers, and people are
But
in
okay.
fear to speak out.
Truth, but okay. But when it comes to punishing someone like R. Kelly, right? You just mentioned that young girls. I remember being in eighth grade and seeing dudes come and pick up eighth grade girls. Like
Me
that
too,
was
brother.
normalized. Not to
I
excuse
understand.
it, but that was normalized, right? So
It
let's take
was.
a situation like, let's say when he married Aaliyah, we all knew about that. It was reported that he married her allegedly. Yeah, that's like some creepy shit. It was happening back then. But what
Was it
about
really
her
creepy though,
parents
kid? Was it
for
really creepy?
a 20-something-year-old and a 15-year-old?
Now, but see, but here I'm coming from a place where I was watching that happen every day. I was
I see
watching.
what you're saying.
Oh, I was.
It
You know what
was
I'm saying?
it was
I was
normal.
watching grown ass men that were
Hmm.
my associates, my affiliates, being around me. We're around each other, and they was dating young chicks. Like, that was just what
It
it was.
Yeah.
We normalized it, but that there's an imbalance there. I think there's some sick shit to that, especially when we're talking like 15 and 20 something. Like that's to me that's a little bit too far in the age
Nah,
bracket. But
that's
what I
what
was
they
getting
was
to,
looking. They was
that's
man.
true.
They didn't look
But
15.
but what do we do? Like, so if you punish that man, how does a 15-year-old get in the presence of a man like that? Like, not speaking about like the girls we knew from school and shit, but let's say Aaliyah, who's in the studio with this man, who got an album about to come out with this man. What about the head of the label? What about her mama? What about her daddy? I think sometimes parents and powerful people around are culpable with this shit because it's gonna benefit them. And I'm
Yeah.
saying if that's the case, they should be punished too, Jermaine.
Well, look at the documentary that just came out about the whole Nickelodeon stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And
Come on now,
so
man.
you had the dude who was sexually assaulting, all these minors that were getting sexually assaulted in a major network,
Is
boys and
Nickelodeon
girls.
still around?
Huh?
Yeah.
Is Nickelodeon still around?
Yeah.
Yeah, to my understanding, right?
Yeah. And
Nickelodeon
so,
still,
but
yeah.
this is somebody who was, producing whatever in all these shows. But you're saying, how does this happen? Well, because especially when you're dealing with minors, a lot of times parents these are first generation, quote unquote, celebrities, the children.
Mm-hmm.
So these are people, they're parents that don't come from money.
Mm-hmm.
So mom and dad have jobs. And so, hey, the manager wants to come and pick you up and take you to these auditions. You know, your agent wants to drop you off and put you over here. Your producer wants you to stay over here and record these tracks. And you have mom and dad who got to clock in on Monday who are like, I can't drive from Chicago to St. Louis so you can do these auditions to hope they pan out to turn around and come back. But your manager says they'll take you. You know, your agent says they'll fly you over and stay. Your producer says they'll watch you over the weekend. And then if you're the parent, some of it is the case of you don't want to be the one that stops your child's dream. Some of it is you are just negligent. Some of it is you're reaping the benefits of the end result.
You see what I'm saying? Because ain't no way I'm letting my 12-year-old, I don't give a damn how good you are at acting, how good of a singer you are. If an adult says, I'm going to take you for the weekend, to me, that's a red flag right there. I don't care
How is that
about
a red flag? We do it all the time with sports. We do it all the time with sports.
Well, I'm saying, but so if your 12-year-old is you're in a check-to-check situation, you live and getting by. You can't take off a week to go fly to do this and that. And you, somebody who comes in and says, man, I can do this for your kid, I can do that for your kid. And then all of a sudden they book your kid in some ads. All right, bring in $500 for some stuff. Then they bring in $1,000 for this. We got a chance to put your son in this TV show, be a series regular, making some G's, whatever. The kid's a minor. The money comes to you. You know, and so it's like all of a sudden you're starting to see this is not just a pipe dream for my kid. Like there's checks starting to come in. There's things starting to happen. So now I may just be a little more loose with my child. This is not a pass for it, but this is how can it happen? And then you start looking at a lot of these kids that this happened to. They were single parent households. Because the one major issue they had, the one father who was really, really present, they had to get rid of him because he was noticing stuff. He kept hitting. Nah, this ain't right. I don't trust old boy. This seemed a little sketchy to me. And the agent and the manager got with the mom, his ex-wife, and were like, you know, your ex-husband's going to ruin this for your son. You know, we're going to miss opportunities because he's questioning everybody. He's being squeaky wheel. He's being problematic. You're going to ruin this whole thing. And the mom, siding for her son's career, got the dad out the way.
Wow, yeah, and B, you made a good point. Like there, like football camp, and if you got a son that's baseball, on an AAU team,
basketball,
he go away for the weekend. But I think so, right? You could be a parent that doesn't see anything wrong with that. Like I trust coach, whatever.
Exactly.
He's been around my kid, but I think we need to use everything as an example. Because I don't have kids that are that young no more, but if I did, watching a situation like Aaliyah or the Nickelodeon shit, that would make me say, well, you know what? Maybe when I send them off, I'm gonna go, or I'm gonna send somebody that I trust, because I'm sure that happens a lot too, where kids get in these situations with coaches, and y'all got to be in a motel room. All kind of shit could be taking place. You know what I mean?
So let me happen. They had this experiment. This guy walked to a park with his film crew, whatever. And he was going up to parents who were sitting in the park or their kids were playing. He said, well, I want to do this experiment. He said, do you tell your kid about not going off with strangers? I tell my kid all the time, never talk to a stranger. He said, okay, so I'm going to attempt to see if your kid will walk away with me. And they're like, oh, my kid's going to tell you to go to hell and this, that, whatever. And one after another, this guy walked up with a puppy, walked up with whatever, and all these kids walked hand in hand off with this guy. There were a lot of parents who believe I told my child, and I have a good enough relationship with my kid that if something happened, they would tell me. If somebody tried something, they would do it. And they're not always correct. There are things that their children don't tell them. There are things that they've taught their child that their child does not practice when they get out into life. And so there's a lot of parents who believe the relationship with their child is different than what it actually is.
And then let me also throw this. You know who the person that was the person that got me really involved in the drug trade? Was an individual, my best friend's dad, that I went to his house because my dad trusted the father. You get what I'm saying? Like, let's look at it across the line and across the board. I mean, yes, you know, foreseeing certain things as a parent, you're generally thinking as a parent, you're giving your child to an adult. The adult's going to keep the child safe. You're not thinking most of the time that this is a predator. My father never thought that I was allowing my son to go sleep over the night as one of his best friends, that the dad was going to sit there and introduce him to selling drugs, even though I was selling drugs. But you know what I'm saying? He opened up a bigger scale for me in that moment, right? He was daddy-o. So the reality that, parents should be the fall guys for a lot of this thing. I mean, I get it in some ways, but at the same particular time, I think in the society that we want to be able to entrust and able, other people, because as they say, it takes a village to empower our kids. There's going to be some things that other people are going to be able to give as far as ingredients to make that person, that child of yours, a better person, a better individual. So it's a very slippery slope. We can't just always look at it like, well, I would have and I should have, because at the end of the day, you know what ends up happening? The parent that is overbearing, the parent that doesn't allow their child to go to any parties, any football games, or stay in the house. I don't trust that person. I don't trust anybody. That person ends up becoming the wilder child in general, right? So you're going to have to be able to allow young people, and you're going to have to be able, as a parent, trust in certain things and hope that if these things happen, your child is brave enough and strong enough to let you know, mom, dad, this is what happened, and it doesn't go over the top. And hoping that as you as a parent, when that's said, you're strong enough to listen and hear and not be shamed and do something about whatever transpired with your child.
Got it. Now, before we get off this Diddy topic, you guys, one thing I want to touch on real quick, because one thing, watching that unfold on social media, black folks have fun with situations like this, and there's all these memes. Everybody's condemning Diddy, and possibly rightfully so. But one of the things I
You
was
don't
thinking
think
to
Diddy
y'all
did
is,
it? Wait. You don't think Diddy did it?
I think Diddy did something. To the degree that's being said, my personal opinion, I think everybody is putting sauce on it. I think
Do you think?
everybody is put.
Do you think Diddy is gay?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's irrelevant though.
No, it's not relevant. It's very important to this situation.
I don't think so.
Why you say that? Why you say that?
I really believe if Diddy would stop pretending he's this straight alpha heterosexual male, if he said, yo, I'm bisexual, I like penis every once in a while, I like to bend dudes over, I guarantee you this will be a softer blow. If you side with the Rainbow Coalition, I guarantee you, Diddy, it would be a softer blow. Hey, Diddy, man, have your publicist holler at your guy, man. I can get you out of this, my G. Trust me.
What you was gonna say, Jermaine?
I don't know. So I don't know. I'm always weird about that, about the need for people to out folks or whatever they do at home. Now, I'm not talking about the criminal stuff. So removing criminal, illegal behavior. But whatever his orientations are or preferences, to me, is irrelevant. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I think it could be irrelevant, but I think kind of, because B was saying, hey, if he came out, it'll be cool for him. I personally think, just not by what people say.
Cooler. I think he still got some retribution, but it would be cooler.
But don't you think the higher ups or people that he are involved with in Hollywood, don't you think they know if he is? Don't you think they know that? Don't you think that
that's
may
not
be
relevant?
We all know that's why he needs to just come out the closet and just say, yo, I'm a bisexual man.
And Jermaine, say it again. Why do you think his sexual orientation doesn't play a part in this at all, when if he is a gay man, I do think, not like no gay mafia shit, but there are, like, I think allegiances when you go on that side. Like the LGBTQ community in our country right now has a lot of power. So I think if us as a public, not knowing he was gay, but if he was and everybody there knew, and like people
I'm
he's
saying
dealing with
all
know,
the people who this would matter to would know already.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
So the idea of you need to come out to John Q. Public is what I'm saying is irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
It's because the people.
I think it's super relevant. I think it would save and change public opinion in a major way. And I think that a lot of people are found guilty because of public opinion.
Well, this is what I'm saying. the realization is it's not a question of if you're guilty. It's what are you charged with? Are you
Mhm.
guilty?
Mhm.
So the fact is there could be a whole lot of things that the person's hands aren't clean about, but it's what are you charged with and can you prove that?
Got it. Got it. Got
So,
it.
you know, that's like the stuff that he's being accused of have to do with prostitution,
But
trafficking
Cassie is
girls, and
mentioning men
drugs.
too. But Cassidy is mentioning men, like she is mentioning,
But what I'm
that.
saying is that if you're trafficking bodies, so just real, there are a lot more human traffickers than people even know that they're trafficking. Like that whole
Mhm.
flying a girl out for sex, that's
Yeah,
trafficking.
Brother, listen.
man.
If you fly a
Listen.
girl out for the intent purpose of sex and you paid for it for the process to happen, you are trafficking bodies.
Yeah. See,
I'm
I
sure a
just
lot,
found that out. I
hey,
just found
listen,
that
I'm
out, and I'm
sure a
like,
lot
damn,
of
that's
people got
dangerous.
educated on that. A
Yeah,
lot
That's
of
oh,
people got
dangerous.
this
educated on that.
girl I hit her up online. She said she needed X amount of money for her time. I paid for her flight, her hotel, flew out for the sole interest to have sex, put her on a plane and flew her back. You can be charged with trafficking.
That's some
Wait, you did
bullshit
that,
right
Jermaine?
there.
Huh?
No,
Just,
no,
it
no, no.
sounded
He
like
was
he
giving
did
it.
it, man.
I'm
What?
too broke
Is
for
that
that.
something you want to tell us?
I'm too broke for that.
No, I'm just
This
saying, it
is
sounded like he was like, didn't it sound like he did it?
No, he was giving an
so
example.
what I'm saying.
Oh, okay, I was like, oh, okay.
So when you
Some
start
new
talking
shit
about
going on, all
charges
right?
and stuff, so that's what I'm saying. Like, well, I mean, like for people who are getting charged with stuff. So so the stuff that
Mhm.
he's looking at, his sexuality, if it was a man or a woman that was flown out, like I said, that's not relevant. It's
Mhm.
going to be, is this what you did?
That's true. That's true.
You know,
So, last thing on Diddy, real quick, guys. So we see how it's being shaped in social media. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody wants to out Diddy. How do we feel about the fact that we have predators in our own family? We got Uncle Charles that's been messing with the kids for 20 years. Ain't nobody said nothing. Your mama know about it. Your auntie know about it. They make excuses for him. I think we need to normalize that more instead of focusing on celebrities and individuals that's not in our family and shit that ain't got nothing to do with us. Sometimes we need to take a look at our own families and kind of decipher how we gonna handle those individuals, because a lot of them never go to jail and they end up dying of old age. You know what I mean?
oh, yeah.
I believe that we as a society, especially as Black folk, we enabled behavior. We've normalized, sexual predators in our families
Mhm.
for a lengthy amount of time. So I do believe that there are individuals. I know every time I out somebody, somebody's in my inbox threatening me, telling me that's not right, blah, 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 or try to bring up certain things in my past. Listen, I have never, ever, 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 ever in my life had to do anything that wasn't reciprocated from a woman that was legal. You're gonna talk
Mhm.
about.
Mhm.
I've never had to do anything, no harm, no foul on my way. You hear me? So I'm
Mhm.
okay with speaking my truth and okay with calling out predators, and I don't have a thought to be able to think about doing that type of stuff. And I think that people get tight when you start talking about predators because some folks, like we talked about back in the day, were predators before. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Some of them
Mhm.
25-year-olds, they know what they was doing with that 15-year-old, that little
Mhm.
niece or that little, you know what I'm saying? What that's my
Yeah.
homegirl, whatever. Like these people know. And I think that people get tight because again, in certain eras of our society, we normalize it. You gotta remember there was once upon a time, cats was marrying all 14-year-olds, 16-year-olds.
That's a fact.
That's
That's a
it's
fact.
just truth. So
Mhm.
again, when you're looking at R. Kelly and his predatorial ways, it was like he was doing stuff that wasn't unlawful in the mind of him because everybody around him was doing the shit.
Mhm.
Everybody. This is what society was. We never talk about how Elvis married Priscilla Presley. We never talk about that. How
Mhm.
old was she when Elvis met her? We never talk
He was
about
like
that.
13, 14 when they
Like, come
met.
on.
Yeah. Yeah. That
So if
happens a
that's
lot.
not telling you what you need to know, it's just a
Mhm.
simple fact. I think that people are too embarrassed in our community to go ahead and point out Uncle Susu. And here's the coldest thing, Auntie Lele, and say, yo, them people touched me when I was in the shower.
No.
Or
Mhm.
them people come into my room when everybody else is sleeping. And I
Mhm.
feel like we fear the repercussions and we don't want people to go to jail for a long period of time. And that's why people
But
just take it with a grain of salt.
But Jermaine, why do we have all the smoke for P-Diddy then? Why so many of us have the smoke for P-Diddy? But like B just said, you bring out some shit about somebody in your family, they're gonna be contacting you personally, talking about let's keep this buried. You know what I mean?
Keep it a buck. I think we just go for the jokes on a lot of this. I don't think it's because all these people who have
Care.
jokes are actually emotionally invested in these victims or whatever could have potentially happened.
They just having fun on social media.
They just
100%.
it's low hanging fruit and it's an easy one to go after. I do not think that conservatively 85% of the people who got jokes about Sean Combs actually care about what has happened to him and or anybody who he's accused of victimizing.
Right. Because if he came out with a new Ciroc or if he came out with some new shit that's popping, they're gonna go buy it.
The same way nobody cared about R. Kelly's victims.
That's a fact. Until
The
the
same
media.
way nobody cares
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
the grocery list of Trey Songz accusers.
Yeah. That's a fact.
The same way nobody's
Yeah.
starting to care about this long connecting the dots of potential Drake issues.
Mm-hmm.
There
Wait, I haven't
are
heard nothing about Drake. Drake
about these
has like some
underage
sexual
girls.
abuse. Oh.
So there's a whole lot of stuff that we look the other way about if we like the person or like what they do.
That's dangerous. That's dangerous, and that shit happens.
Popularity is a dangerous thing, yo.
Mm-hmm.
And again, Diddy no longer in the eye of all as popular, as loved, as celebrated as he thought.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he's getting played. R. Kelly, yeah, you got a couple fans, but when your time is up, your time is up.
Yeah,
Our brother OJ, who we'll be talking about later, same exact thing. When your time is up, man. So the reality of everybody, first of all, Diddy is great content for any content creator. That's one, right? And for any news outlet, he's great content as well. So, like Jermaine said, R. Kelly was guilty in 2000. You know what I'm saying? He was guilty back then, 2000 or whatever time that was. And he had enough money, he had enough juice, he had enough power. He still was in a block of, well, we can still use a mother effer. And guess what? No one even gave a damn about the situation. There's a bunch of black girls that was getting manhandled anyway. Who cares about black girls? When
That's
that
true.
Me Too movement came,
Yeah.
even though a black woman started the Me Too movement, you got a couple white sisters that was draping tears. I got buck naked on a couch and I didn't get the role. That's when heads got to rolling, and then everybody started to uncover certain things. And then we revisited R. Kelly, who already had basically, and that's why he was falling apart, because what they were doing, they was reconvicting him for something that he had already got away with.
That's
So
true.
y'all wait. So y'all are chasing me down for some shit that y'all basically said there's no crime, there's no problem here. I paid up my fees, so now y'all doing me like that. That's why R. Kelly was so hot. It's not the simple fact that these things that he did, but like what Jermaine was saying about the whole sex trafficking thing. Once you start breaking down the law, they're swinging this sex trafficking thing so so literal that another high guy named Vince McMahon is under that same proclamation. You know what I'm saying? And it's really a thing that you start getting educated on and be like, ooh, I got to move a lot differently if I'm moving like that.
Yeah, definitely. Now, you touched on OJ a few minutes ago. I want to hit on that before we end the show, guys. So OJ died a few days at 76 years old. I think he had prostate cancer. RIP to that brother.
They killed that Negro.
So I'll go to you first, B. So I'll go to you first. How as black folks, how do you look at OJ's legacy?
Free like OJ all day. If it don't fit, you must have quit, man. OJ is an interesting character in the black community because I think white folk are still so mad that the prosecution got so tied up with wanting to make this national case and winning it that they did everything wrong to have him convicted, that they've been paying us back for that. And because of the Rodney King riots that happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the situation where the white officers were walking free after we're all looking and watching them brutalize, almost kill Rodney King. It didn't matter if OJ was guilty. It didn't matter if OJ didn't come to the barbecue for a couple years. It didn't matter if OJ killed 100 white women, and no disrespect, right? We wanted some justice for some type of Negro. So for
Wow.
that point of my life, I remember I was riding with the juice, literally. You know what I'm saying? And we're not talking about in a Bronco. We were riding. Now, the flip side of it, right? Because I'm more of a changed man now. I'm more of a moralist, right? I don't look at it the way I used to look at it as black power all the way. I don't care what OJ did. That man's free. I think that they did him dirty as they've done, like when we talked about R. Kelly, that it simply lets you know no matter what a black man or black woman does to be over, to be successful in this white society, this dominant society that is plagued by our white adversaries or counterparts, sometimes we
Mm-hmm.
would like to say, when they want you to be put in your place, you're going to be put in your place.
You're gonna be
Because
putting
years
your place.
later, for one of the most craziest things, OJ got locked up.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it was just like, this let me know white folks will keep a grudge
Forever.
for as long as they need until they finally sit your ass down.
Mm-hmm.
So OJ was very particular because for whatever reason, he got away with whatever he got away with, and he just couldn't keep his ass away from the limelight, and they made sure they got his ass, and his life was never the same.
Mm-hmm. So Jermaine, listen to what B just said. It looks like during that time, OJ, because based on his life and a lot of things he said and did, he wasn't fucking with black folks like that. But it looks like he benefited from the white supremacy that was taking place at that time. So all black folks was damn near on his side because we just wanted one of us to win. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so yeah, because it wasn't a win for OJ because Johnny Cochran and them didn't make the trial about OJ. Johnny Cochran put the LAPD and the legal system on trial and
Mm-hmm.
then looked for
Mm-hmm.
all the errors, missteps, and discrepancies in the system. Johnny
Mm-hmm.
Cochran didn't. The only thing he ever said about OJ was if this glove, not even him, if this glove does not fit, then you must acquit him. Like OJ was the second tier in his whole defense.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna talk about the police officers. We're gonna talk about the attorneys. We're gonna talk about the prosecution. We're gonna talk about the items you found. We're gonna talk. He didn't. Johnny Cochran never spoke to OJ's character. He never
That's
spoke
a
to the
fact.
type of man OJ was. That whole defense had nothing to do with OJ Simpson. Everything about the system. So when OJ was found not guilty, it wasn't OJ's free. It was see the system's flawed. And we got one over on a system that's we normally on the receiving end on the bad side. Why
Damn.
OJ's legacy will still work in his favor is because everybody knows the same reason why when you don't get an Oscar, Academy Award, or Grammy when you should have, so usually you get it for something that maybe you shouldn't have.
Mm-hmm.
Like Denzel should have got it for something other than Training Day.
Mm-hmm.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how they got OJ. Like we couldn't get you for what we should have got you on. So we got you for what we could get you on. So it
Damn.
only reiterated to black people, it's still the system.
Yeah.
If it was anybody else, any other circumstance, he would not be in prison for those 7 years.
He'd
Like
have been on probation if that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
all
Got
it's
a
so
little
it's why
fine on
it's still a
probation. Get out of
win.
our city.
It's still a win for OJ's legacy because he showed in 2 different occasions the crookedness of the system.
That's some shit right there. The LAPD is so racist. He could have got away with murder simply because they so damn racist.
Had they
And Johnny
just been
Cochran
on
knew
the
to point
had
at
they
that.
just been on the up and up, they'd have got a conviction.
Easy.
Yep.
Easy.
But because
And then
they was so shady
the reality of it all,
dirty, they
right?
let this man walk.
America was on trial,
Yeah.
right?
And
I
then
mean, let's that America was on trial in that moment.
you got him in Nevada on some nonsense that just only showed black people again. See, that's that shady system again.
Y'all picking on OJ.
The people got to
I
forget.
mean, think
OJ
about it.
died in very good graces. The show he's been doing with Maurice Claret, with
We was
Cam
fucking
and
with him.
Mace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's
we
what
was
I'm
fucking with
saying.
him.
So how
He was
much
in very
cancer
good
did he?
graces when he left
Hold on a
this earth.
second. So because cancer, how much cancer did he really have? You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
Wait. B. So you think they killed him? You think it was something
oh,
else going
brother,
on?
He's
listen,
been looking sick
man.
for the last couple of years.
What? How do we know? I never heard that. I just heard he had it. You know what I mean? When did he make the announcement?
He's been looking skinny and sick for the last couple of
He's
years.
old. Well, I mean, that's what niggas get skinny.
You
He's
know,
working out.
but
He's OJ. He wasn't looking like that.
You 70
I'm just
something?
saying that in the term of events, right, outside of my conspiracy theories that I may throw at y'all, it always seems like, and even with the Michael Jackson case,
And
right?
Prince.
Listen, it always seems like they turn around and they get you back on the other end. We ain't get you for that, but we're gonna get you for this. You know what I mean? Whether it's assassinating your character, right, or publicly embarrassing you to where you're worth nothing, right? You're docile in whatever cave that you're laying in. But when you talk about the memes, King, um, and when we talk about how you would see a divided society, you saw how white folks reacted to it. You saw how black folks reacted to OJ's death. And
Yeah,
that
some of them
just
were still,
told you
Caitlyn.
a lot.
Yeah,
That spoke
Caitlyn Jenner was
volume.
like rest in hell or something
yeah,
Caitlyn Jenner said.
she
But,
said she
but, but
couldn't
at the
witness.
same time, his ultra ego, where her ultra ego, Bruce Jenner, killed two people in a car accident. So
That's
go
true.
figure,
That's
right?
true.
Go figure. So
That's true. And it's important to note that after OJ got let loose for that, his money was still found guilty. Like he wasn't found guilty of the murder, but his money was.
He
You know what
didn't
I
pay
mean?
and
them
that's why
people.
I said they off the
He didn't
nigga.
pay them people. He didn't pay
That's
them
why they
folks.
off the nigga. Let's get him out of here, man.
Wait, Jermaine. So I heard something about that. He didn't actually pay him, right? So they were saying they was going to try to get the money in his death or something like
A
that.
$33 million settlement is worth over $100 million now in interest and back fees because he didn't pay. His
Wait.
money was protected. So they couldn't take it
Oh,
from him in life. The only way they're going to get it from him is if he generated a certain amount of money from certain things,
I didn't know that.
or if he voluntarily made payments. He was
So
very clear.
he
I'm not
got away
giving
with
a
all
dime.
that.
So they
So
couldn't
he
touch
got
his
away with all that.
pension. They couldn't touch. He had,
Ah.
he had money put in certain places they couldn't touch. He only had a couple of things that he did that generated money, and they got that. Like that book he wrote. I didn't kill her, but if I killed her, I'd tell you how to do it. Like, and
and see,
That nigga, he wild for that.
and that's why they came after the Negro, right? That's another thing. Like,
He
bro,
wild for that. I didn't
yeah,
do it, but if
that's
I
why,
went and
and
did it, look on page 20.
they got
let
him
me
in
walk you
Nevada.
through the diagram of how I would have showed up on the
Yeah,
driveway.
and that's why they got him in Nevada. You
But
cannot be a pompous, arrogant, let me tell you, mother effer type of Negro. They're gonna put you in your place.
If
And
he
I'm
wasn't black, he
hoping,
was OJ. Let him tell it.
that these people, when they recognize and see, especially like these black celebrities who have been high and mighty to all, for white, black, Mexican, whoever, for all to see, these black celebrities, how they end up doing y'all towards the end of your careers or the end of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody gives a damn about you. So you best to fly a little bit lower on the radar because it's
Yeah,
just
because
been
they'll get your
trending,
ass.
y'all. Like,
Mm-hmm.
how many more do we got to see get played or have some scandal that trumps their legacy? We don't talk about
That's a
Michael
fact.
Jackson's hits. We also talk about Michael Jackson's scandal. We
That's
don't
as far
talk
as
about
legacy
Bill
goes.
Cosby in the show. We talk
Yep.
about Bill Cosby and all of the women he AKA allegedly raped.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is crazy.
It
And these
sullies your
are some of the
legacy
this is some of
for a
the
fact.
tainted legacies on purpose because they always want to create this checkered past for black heroes. And some of those people were some of the most important people in the black community. Look at what they're even doing to Good Times. Look at what
zero.
they
That
even
Hey,
and
I heard about that. I seen a
listen.
clip of it. I thought it was a
And
spoof.
black people executive produced that. You know what I'm
That's a
saying?
fact. That's a fact. I
But
heard Steph
the
Curry had
same
something to do with that
Negroes,
too.
hold on, but the same Negroes that are upset with that aren't this are the same Negroes that celebrate all this ratchet shit that we see over and over on social media. So
That's a
I don't
fact.
really understand.
Yes, definitely. It's definitely a double standard. Now, before we get out of here, fellas, I wanted to discuss with everybody again. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Melanated Convo Podcast, man. I'm happy to be here with my two brothers, but we got a special
You ain't got no
announcement.
clapping or nothing like that. What's we supposed to have like a clapping thing?
But I got a special announcement, right? Me and my brothers is gonna put together something together, right? We gonna do some live in studio shit together. Brother, can we talk? Tell everybody about it, B. This is like your brainchild. Put us
Man,
down with it, man. What's up with it?
listen. During COVID, I got with you brothers and a couple other brothers because I felt like COVID was a tough time for brothers mentally. There was a lot of domestic violence going on the hands of our brothers. And not saying that brothers don't aren't victims of domestic violence as well, but we're going to put onus on ourselves and be accountable for our own selves, of our own behaviors before we start going ahead and talking about the women. Since we want to be the head of the households, the tribal chiefs of our homes, that we as black men, our mental health is important. So as I know how I've navigated through you two brothers and some other brothers as vent partners, accountability partners, this idea of brother, can we talk? We'll talk about an array of subjects from romance to love to music to success to careers, just to brothers mentally growing stronger, fatherhood, and a whole other bunch of subjects that are dealing with black men,
Mm-hmm.
brothers. I mean, it's for everybody to get some game on. Brother, can we talk? We are going to start talking about us in general, on how we can keep ourselves accountable, hold ourselves high, maintain, give key solutions, advice in adverse moments, because I think sometimes brothers need to hear other brothers speaking truth to power. Brothers need to hear other brothers enlighten them, empower them, and brothers need to hear other brothers that's navigating in the struggle of life. We're not all perfect, but we can be our perfect selves. And I blend in with some great brothers. I'm just excited about bringing it back. It's going to be our therapy sessions on steroids, coming straight real,
Mm-hmm.
holding ourselves accountable, and everything ain't just going to be about victimizing black men, because we want to make sure that we hold and lift up black men to as high as degree, but as well as make sure that we hold ourselves accountable to our highest levels.
Definitely. I can't wait, man. I
Jermaine, you
can't
want
wait.
to
It's
add
a
something
long
to that,
time
brother?
coming.
Oh no, that covered.
Okay. I did a well job.
Yeah.
Harrison, you want to add something to that, brother?
Hey man, I'm just excited to be a part of it, and we'll as the weeks come, we'll introduce more information to you guys. But how we're
Man,
actually going to do the show, I'm extremely excited about. A part of me feels like everything I've been doing is kind of building up to something like this. You know what I mean? So I'm just excited to be on a platform with my brothers, and I've been rocking with these guys for a while. And the bigger thing about these gentlemen is, yeah, we get on the mic and we talk shit and we play around, but I've seen them in real life get busy though. You see what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
boots to the ground. Like talking is one thing,
yeah.
but these brothers are actually put their boots on and spend as much time as necessary to help our
100%.
people, and that's what it's about.
Yeah, like for me, I'm just, we gonna have to get these brothers outside of this hot boy syndrome that I think that a lot of these boys are in, this Diddy syndrome that a lot of these boys are in, this Peter Pan situation that a lot of our men are in. I'm hearing a lot of women online when they're talking about our brothers, man. I'm gonna need brothers to start getting their cars, their license, some type of job that can, they can afford to take care of themselves and maybe one or two others. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
We got
That's
to
a fact.
start getting this shit back in the line, because
Mm-hmm.
when I'm watching how our kids are navigating, especially our young girls, I know that there ain't no black men in the household or no brothers in the
You
household.
can
When we
see it.
talk about brothers, we just ain't talking about black men. We talk about brothers. We talk about all. We focusing on our black men, but we talking about men in general, breaking it all down,
Yeah.
because we have to be the kings of the village and stand on some morality instead of moving around and navigating like we don't have no responsibilities in the world. I think that's corny as hell. Any man that's not taking care of their kid, any man that's, out there just, beating up on women because they're not secure with their own self. We're going to hopefully help brothers navigate, because we got too much crazy shit going on and we not looking good. I don't want to hear no woman talk about no brothers ain't got their shit together, man. I want to be like, yo, got my shit together. I'm just not fucking with you. You know what I'm saying? I want to hear that.
That's a fact. That's a fact. I'm excited about it. So everybody be on the lookout. New show, Brother Can We Talk?
We don't know
Jermaine
when we gonna
Morris.
premiere it, huh? We got.
Not yet. We don't want to release that yet. You know what I mean? So me, Jermaine Morris, my brother Berry Accius, we're gonna have a great time, but we also gonna introduce a lot of good information to our people, and you know what I mean? We're equipped to do so, man. So I'm excited. So everybody be on the lookout for that show coming real soon. This has been another episode of the Melanated Convo podcast with my brothers. Berry, tell everybody where they can find you, man.
Berry Accius. I'm back on what it was Twitter when I was on it. Now I'm back on X. Formerly known as Twitter. I'm back on it. I ain't been on it for a while. Hopefully I'm gonna stay. But everything else, IG, Facebook, Berry Accius. You already know what it is. Most disliked popular guy. Holla at you got.
Jermaine Morris, where can we find you, brother?
All social media platforms are all at J Morris CEO.
At J, he means that shit everywhere. Because I'll be forgetting his email address sometime. I'm like, no, it's the same goddamn. It's the same thing everywhere.
It makes it so easier. I used to try to switch it up.
It makes it hella easy.
Switch it up and like this. Nah, man, I can barely keep up with my fucking same passwords, though. Simplify it. This is what it is. No name, no gimmicks. Yeah, straight up.
There we go. This has been another episode of the Melanated Convo podcast. Me and my two brothers. My name is Harrison. Follow me on Instagram at melanatedconvo100. Go to the melanatedconvo.com to view all the content. Brother Can We Talk podcast coming soon. It's going to be fire, y'all. We out.